Hello and welcome to a somewhat daily backup, back
Woo.
pocket edition, backup edition,
Back of the
PPP
pack.
version. We're still figuring out what this is for Wednesday, the 26th of August. I am Nick Boy Richardson, and it's just me and Peter the Woodsman Burns today.
How's it going? Good to
Do you
be
like
here.
the Woodsman?
Yeah, I think it's way cooler than I deserve. Just because I live in the mountains doesn't mean I'm a mountain man. Though I am wearing the appropriate garments. And you look like a seaside liver.
And I look like what?
You look like you live near the sea. Your hair is swept by salty winds, and you're wearing a windbreaker because you got a brisk breeze coming off the ocean.
I'm actually going for sexy grandpa. That's the look that I'm going for.
Very nice. I see not Juves in the chat. God, I hate that guy on the left.
Yeah, well, look, let me tell you something about Juves. He's a real piece of shit. I know Juves very well. Juves and I work together, and we at first had a very healthy working relationship, and it has just absolutely plummeted. Something purple just flared. You have earned a limited time to exclusive... You have a limited time to earn exclusive emotes. Me, as the owner of this channel, because there's a hype train going. That's exciting.
Very nice.
Pete, do you know what a hype train is?
Yeah, I have become familiar with them a little bit from watching Cardboard Cowboy, who has like a great animation that is attached to his, and it's when people are donating bits and subscribing and sharing and donating subscriptions and stuff. It's like it builds up a meter. But you can set how hard it is, and I think we've got it set to the easiest,
right?
Because that's by default. So like level 5 hype train, I think is not like we're not breaking the internet here.
We've juiced the results.
We have, yeah. But it's also more fun to just level up.
That's true. Well, like I let me tell you something. I have started playing a lot of games on easier modes because I'm just like, I just want to do this. I don't want to have to think about what I'm doing. I just want to get this done and enjoy this. Why does Nick not have a superhero name says the saltiest pretzel? I think I do. I think sexy grandpa is kind of working for me. And I did see someone in the chat, which was Skirovic. You've called me out for mispronouncing your name before. Wife and I are loving that both of your outfits match your home decor. And it's totally true.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The words I said to
clay and Nick is beige.
Yeah. I'm stone and you're clay.
Yeah. Nice.
This is just the most ungaming conversation you can possibly imagine. Like, let's describe the shades of ourselves. I actually said to Pete just before, the last things I said to him before we went to air is, I enjoy how with this show I don't give a fuck about any professionalism, and it's just the most relaxed version of what it is. The hype train is now level 3, which is very exciting. So whatever you guys 100%. Are doing, and I assume it's just subscribing.
We've got subscriptions, yeah. We got Invader, but it's spelled weirdly, but that's a gamer tag. That's how you do it. Invader, and Falineth, and Kajalia. Kajalia?
Yep.
There's 3 female names strung together. KJ Leah.
There you go. So all of you people be like those 3 female names and subscribe to the channel for those emotes. We are going to be covering some news today and see what happens.
Do we have to?
Well, so look, all these people are like, you don't have to do it every day. And we won't do
somewhat every day.
But it's the fact of the matter is that multiple industries around the world are built on the fact that news continues to break every single day.
Yeah,
and there's just always just a lot of gaming news, and so we thought we would talk about some more.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it with something that is exciting, which has been rumored for a while, but a new Bloomberg report has come out saying that there could be a new Switch model.
Sexy man.
Switch
model.
A new sexy man. Oh, I like that. Yeah, he just wanders around holding switches. He's coming in 2021. And looking at him, I'm coming right now. So apparently Nintendo want to put out a new Switch with better graphics 2021. We've heard a bit about this before. This report from Bloomberg apparently has more insider info that says it will feature more computing power and support for 4K visuals. Yeah, which I feel like is the bare minimum, right, of what you would want.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's going to be at 23 frames a second. No, I'm excited about the news, and I hope they get the hardware right, because like I want more to play on my Switch, and I'm kind of envious that Gus can play things like Doom and Wolfenstein on it and be like, "This is great," and I play it, I'm
fine.
like, "This runs like fucking shit."
And looks bad as well.
Yeah, it's like the worst looking version of the game running bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's cool that it's portable, but if it were portable and ran the game well, like that's a massive win for me, because I love the console, but I feel like I've run out of things to play on it.
I mean, it's like people keep saying it's a technical marvel.
There he is, Gus is in the chat.
But yeah, but it's like if I operated on another human being and removed their heart and put in a new heart and sewed them back up. They didn't live, but the fact that I did it is a medical marvel. Like the fact that I could cut into a person and remove and replace the heart, but it's not what you want. It's just, oh, I happen to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like this should, I guess, coincide with Breath of the Wild 2. Like there's nothing really on the slate for the Switch in the short term, other than like Pikmin 3 getting ported from the Wii U. And hopefully we'll see all the 3D Mario games come across sooner rather than later. Remember, they're doing like the 25 years, nothing is off the cards, but that's all they said. And like, I don't know what game, they haven't revealed exactly which games are coming across, but you have to assume it's going to be Galaxy and hopefully Sunshine that come across, and maybe 64 as well. So that'll be fun to play legacy games like that.
For sure. In the Bloomberg report as well, they do say that Nintendo have a slew of games planned to coincide with the release of the new Switch. So yeah, I reckon that the Pikmin, your Super Marios, potentially your Breath of the Wild, and maybe Metroid 4 in the launch window, I guess, of just going, we're going to hammer you with this stuff, so it feels like basically the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Outside of the 4K, which I don't have a 4K TV. I have no desire to get a 4K. Like if someone watching wants to buy me a 4K TV, I'll take it. But
that's Hype Train level 5, I think.
It is. That's how we get there. So keep going. But I don't have an urge to go out and get one right now. So 4K doesn't really matter for me. Obviously, more power to get more, to give developers more tools is good. But I would love a better screen on it. Bigger screen. Admittedly, I'm using the what's it called, Switch Lite, as opposed to the main one now, because it just feels sturdier. But I would love a bigger screen on that. Lower the bezels, even better, a bigger and a better quality screen. But the real thing, which is a very small thing for me, but I would love Bluetooth audio. I would love to be able to use headphones and not have to have dongles and plugs and that sort of thing. Because I live in a wireless world right now.
Yeah, and third-party support is great, and like it's cool that Nintendo have kind of like not sued people for building this stuff. I know they're like often litigious with like stay away from our hardware and software, but like obviously people have. There's like I get an ad every other week for improve your Switch by buying this add-on.
Yeah.
Heaps of stuff like that. First party would be great to see supported if the price is right. Because Nintendo always like put a bit of a premium, Ninty premium on them as well, but they're always adorable.
They are. It's like you could get Triforce shaped headphones.
Yeah.
They'd just be uncomfortable.
And it'll be a little toadstool's head that you plug into the thing that becomes
that's
like the
nice.
Bluetooth of it.
See, that's the annoying thing that I see all that stuff that you could get for the Switch, and it's like plugging in the bottom in the like one port that like you've got the USB-C and you've got the headphones, and then you've just got all these like daisy chained things coming out, and I'm like, I don't need any of that. Like just put it in the system. Let us know in chat what games you would want to see, because I am dying to replay Galaxy. I really hope Galaxy lives up to what Galaxy is in my brain, because I haven't played it, Galaxy 1 and 2, since they came out.
Same.
But they feel perfect for the Switch as well. I mean, most Mario games are like this, but that idea of just like these small bite-sized planet levels of like pick up, knock one out, put it down, move on with your day and come back to it would be amazing.
Yeah.
The Mass Effect remaster. Well, I mean, yeah, true that you could open it up to things that aren't just Nintendo as well. If they do put a bit more grunt in there as well, so
I'm totally behind that. Because, like, yeah, again, like I will play most things on my PC. Ooh, look at that! That's a sexy little bit of hair, isn't it?
This is real. This is real 1950s
Johnny Juco or whatever his name is. What's the guy in
Danny
Greece?
Zuko?
Danny Zuko. Johnny Juco.
Johnny Juco?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I would love to be playing third-party cross-platform games on my Switch and for them to run in a way that doesn't make me feel like I'm getting the absolute worst version of it.
Absolutely. Before we move on to our next story, I realized we didn't say that the backup is brought to you by
Tim.
Of
course.
We forgot Tim,
the
sponsor.
Let's hear about Tim.
Let's talk about Tim. Tim from the Learn Programming Academy. If you want to learn programming from a man called Tim, then Tim from the Learn Programming Academy is the Tim you want to learn programming from in an academy setting. Tim right there, zombies trying to eat his brains. Get some exclamation mark Tim's in the chat. Exclamation mark Tim's in the chat will give you his guide that you can go and improve your programming skills. Nightbot is spitting it out there right now. If you go there, Tim has some information about all the services he provides. He is, hands down, the best in the country at what he does. Probably the best in the planet, but I can't confirm that because I can 100% guarantee he's the best in the country.
English-speaking programmer. Best C++ speaking coder.
Yeah, who watches this show.
Who watches the show.
Who also isn't syntax error. So those three qualifiers. But Tim is the man. If you want to learn anything from programming some sort of spreadsheet to programming, I assume, a better Switch. I don't really know how things are made, but Tim does, so you should go to Tim and learn all about programming. All right.
Find out through Tim.
Thank you for your support, Tim. Next up, let's take a pivot.
Shall we?
From Lord of the Rings. No, from Nintendo.
God damn it.
I fucked
Spoilers.
it up. I fucked it up. God damn it. Lord of the Rings Gollum. So this is a game that we've heard a little bit about, and a bit more information dropped about this one. Apparently, we're going to be seeing a lot of stealth from Old Goll.
Yeah.
As I like to call him.
Old Goll.
So Daedalic Entertainment have released a new teaser trailer that gives a little more info about this prequel game. And then the lead game designer Martin Wilkes told IGN, the game mixes stealth with vertical climbing parkour. If you want a reference, think of it as similar to Prince of Persia. It's mostly a non-combat game, but Gollum will be able to stealthily take out enemies. However, this will not be easy and will always come with big risks. We want players to carefully weigh these encounters. After all, Gollum's strength lies in cunning, not combat. And he'll also be able to distract enemies with throwable items and receive some help from special allies. Which is very interesting that it is heavily non-combat.
Yeah, I think it's right for the character.
Definitely.
Is it going to be a fun game? I don't know. I feel like because it's Daedalic and they have like a really strong history of like storytelling games, like a little bit like point and click adventures and stuff like that. I feel like there's going to be a bit of like a late in the life cycle telltale to this. Like there will be some 3D navigation stuff, but I feel like it will be very much about interacting with lore in the space as opposed to being an action game, which I mean they're not describing it as that, but we kind of expect it based on I think the footage here being a 3D like rendered thing that you're going to be sneaking around, jumping on the backs of orcs and slitting their throats or biting their necks or whatever. And I feel like that's obviously going to be a little part of it, but I hope it is a thinking Gollum's game, a thinking Hobbit's game, as opposed to just being like, this character is cool and Lord of the Rings is cool, so you get to rip the heads off orcs in this stealth game where you can actually just win by being aggressive kind of thing.
There is, they do say that it will have a branching narrative and that it is, some levels are completely open in all three dimensions and can be explored freely, while others are more linear but with alternate routes. So I think you might be right with the idea of it's a little more of that Telltale style thing. Also, I mean, if you think about the new Hitman games, as long as things don't go horribly wrong in those games, they aren't really combat games.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
shooting is the last thing you want to end up doing in that game. You want to be sneaking around. Obviously, those are more sort of like clockwork puzzles. But if there is something like that in this, where it is you're triggering things to distract people and move around, and that you think of these levels as less like action levels and more like puzzles that you need to work your way through, that could be interesting, particularly because he obviously has a much more nimble moveset than Agent 37 or whatever. Like,
I just want to pause on his little face. We get to see it, I think, just here, that little angle there. Like, it looks like classic like claymation. Did you ever see like, I can't remember what it's called, the Oogs or something like that? It was like cave people, like the 5 minute. Yeah. It's like, it's really beautiful looking.
He has more of a sort of like, primate-y kind of look to him than a fishy look, which is what I would say he had in the films.
Yeah, and it's nice to see another artistic take on him, because I think that obviously the Lord of the Rings movies are like the greatest films ever made, and like at least fantasy action films ever made, and they nailed it everywhere across the park, and Andy Serkis did an amazing job bringing him to life. All that, everyone already knows that. But
thankfully, Amazon's going to remake all that, and so they'll make it even better.
So much better. But this looks really cool. He's got classic. Yeah, people were mentioning Abe's Odyssey and stuff. Like, it's totally Abe in how they're kind of a little bit unnerving to look at, the character models, but in a cute, ugly way.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's cool.
No, I this at first I was like, I don't really know what to make of this game when I first heard about it, and now I'm like, okay, if there's a little more of this sort of sneaky, puzzly, stealthy thing, then maybe I'm into that, because I have, and I've said it a couple of times, I've just become a massive stealth game fan now, and I used to hate them. So now it's just I'm into this. I'm very much into this.
Yeah.
Though I don't know what more out of Lord of the Rings I possibly need story-wise. I feel like I tapped that well dry, but maybe I'll be surprised.
And this is prequel to the events of the Lord of the Rings, I believe.
Yes, it is.
So he'll be rocking, and The Hobbit even. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's in between. There's a pretty big gap there, but maybe he's got the ring and that's part of it. He's just whacking it on whenever he feels like stealth and hard. Like, right. Yeah. So like that
there's definitely going to be a timer on that ring when you put it on, and there's going to be that ring is going to start emptying out of energy. Yeah, totally. It's like, I've only got 10 seconds worth of ring, and then I need to recharge the ring. And I'm sure that's how the ring worked.
At least in like the lead up to Sauron's return. But let's not get that into it.
You're about to nerd out so hard, and I'm not here for it, so we'll just move on. We'll move on to our next coffee for story. I just don't. Once, like, someone in the chat said the Amazon series, BMax said the Amazon series is from Era 2, and already I'm just like, I just don't care. I'm sure it'd be good, but I can't. I'm not here for your eras. Anytime fictional universes start going into eras, I'm like, I can't keep up. You've invented too much, and I don't care. All right, what do I care about? Not really Call of Duty that much, but I do enjoy myself some Call of Duty. There was a big Call of Duty leak, which is sort of good or bad timing, I guess, depending on which side of the fence you're on. There's going to be the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War reveal happening within the next 24 hours. So we'll find out all this information anyway. So I guess a leak this close to the announcement is good. It was like the shortest amount of time, I guess, that Activision would want, but still, leaks not good, I suppose, for them. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking so much about leaks. I should talk about the story. The first part, which I thought was the most interesting part of this, is that they're not going to offer, if you buy the base version, cross-gen free upgrade, which is kind of like a big talking point that's happening a lot in games at the moment. In order to get that, you need to buy the cross-gen bundle if you want to play on multiple generations. Peter, how do you feel about games not letting you play across generations for free?
Look, I mean, obviously, as a consumer, I want that to be a thing. for all games that are coming out over the next 6 to 12 months to be cross-gen for a single purchase. It's Activision's call. They know people hate them. So do they give a shit? Like, there's going to be people that stay on last gen for, another 18 months, 2 years anyway. So like, to just give them automatic free upgrade when they jump to, I mean, it's going to be 3 more CODs before they upgrade. But, it's a business decision. I think it will only get negative responses from everyone who plays video games, but I also don't think Activision really care. Obviously, it just makes teams like CD Projekt Red and Ubisoft look heaps better because they're going to support that, and it's a very pro-consumer thing, and it's almost more pro-consumer than we should expect from these billion-dollar companies. So
it's interesting. I mean, the closer we get to the console releases, the murkier I think that becomes. I think that I feel like I would have expected this to be somewhat cross-gen, even the standard edition, because it comes with single player. I'm like, okay, sure, I will buy it. If it doesn't come out, like if it comes out before the consoles, then I will just buy it on whatever I'm currently on and play it. But because it has a strong multiplayer community, like super strong multiplayer community, then the idea that you buy it and you can't then continue playing your multiplayer on that on that platform on your new console a month or two after you get the game, that's a little dodgy to me. But there has been lots of conversation about this, particularly like I think about the Remedy control stuff that happened last week, where 505 Games sort of came out and said that they're not that you can't get an upgraded free version of Control for the next gen. You need to buy the Ultimate Edition on there. And people freaked out. And I was like, oh, it's interesting that people freaked out about that, because Control is a game that came out last year that realistically, if you bought it last year, you played it last year, there's some more DLC coming out, but you've already played 2 chunks of it before, 2 or 3 chunks actually, I think, before the next gen consoles come out. And really, like, if you're going to replay Control, how many people are really going to replay and are dying to replay Control on a next gen console? Or how many people are just like, oh, I just want to boot it up to see what ray tracing looks like on the Xbox Series X, and then go 5 minutes, okay, cool, that looked really good, and now I'm done with it. And then if you haven't played Control, then just hold off and buy the Ultimate version when it comes out, because you haven't played Control.
Yeah, totally. I feel like it's just a weird complaint to have, that you expect to get this thing that you once owned for free on the new thing. Like, Remedy aren't in development of it now. Sure, they're making expansion still, and they're still supporting the game, but I'm sure most of their team has moved on to whatever the next thing is for them.
Yeah.
They're going to need to put a team on porting this up to the next generation. And that costs money, and they're going to do it if they feel like there's going to be value. They're going to be able to sell it, because I mean, yeah, sure. I guess there's an argument, like, if they do make it free for people who already own it, they were never going to buy it again anyway, so it's not like they lost a sale there. But I mean, again, it's because it's a very moment in time single player game with an interesting mechanic that now people who have played it have experienced everything that game had to offer that was unique to this game. I feel like it's not a replayable game in that way. And maybe that shouldn't be an excuse, because if this were like,
but I think it's an excuse from, at least from the developers, which is why for the COD one, I'm like, oh, I feel like that should be, it's so close, it's coming out so close to release the new consoles, and the real core part of your game, as proven by the fact that you released a Call of Duty a couple of years ago that didn't have a single player, is multiplayer. So if you want to start playing Call of Duty and then you end up going, okay, well, like, I got an Xbox Series X or a PS5 or whatever for Christmas, then the idea that you need to purchase that game again, that's a bit dodge. Otherwise, or you need to buy the cross-gen bundle. It's all very confusing. It's all just money. And I feel like it's just, We just need to get through the real issue this year is not COVID. It's not Black Lives Matter, and that's a terrible thing to say. It is the fact that the Xbox Series X and PS5 are coming out very soon, and it's all very murky. Once those are out, and then we know what we have, and then we can start buying the games for those, then everything will be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no way that this clip can ever come back and bite me in the ass. Oh, God.
Mods, delete the last 5 minutes.
Totally. Everyone just forget what I said. The other, a couple of other bits of info came out of that COD leak, but then the other one is that apparently Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which I will now refer to as COD Blop Cow, is going to be a direct sequel to the original Black Ops.
Yeah. And we had a little discussion earlier about, because all we've got of the, I think the only thing we've seen of Cold War is the world is fucked trailer, right? Like the footage of real life. And like we were talking before about, do you remember much of what happened in that first Black Ops? And it was like a great game at the time, but it was just like Sam Worthington and some Russian guy kill communists in Vietnam.
Yeah. And there was a playable game.
That's the 4 points to Blops. And you could turn around and play text adventures if you were sick of COD. It felt great. It was like it went Modern Warfare then Black Ops, right? Or did it go Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops?
Oh, right.
I think maybe Black Ops was a little bit after, because there was still World at War kind of CODs going on as well. Someone in the chat will remember the order they came out. But the numbers, Mason. Thank you, Goose. And Gus fucking loves this game. He still talks about it.
He's such a jarhead.
Man.
It's surprising. He's actually, out of all of us in the company, he is and I would have thought it was you as the shooter guy, but he is the real, like...
I like to shoot
he's the
aliens.
Real... Yes, exactly. Like, he's the hoorah!
Yeah, he's like backwards... backwards cat boy. He's been inspired by everything Ubisoft have released in the last decade.
I do like the fact that one of the articles I was reading about this was like, this game will be a direct sequel to the first Black Ops. Don't know what that means for Black Ops 2, which was also a direct sequel to the first Black Ops. So I
feel like there was a break in the thread there. I think like Sam Worthington's character disappeared and only the Russian guy carried the through line, probably because Sam Worthington, like, everyone realized he wasn't worth paying to be in anything.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, let's throw that character out.
So true. Oh my God. We're going to get 2 more Avatar movies with that man.
I know.
And it's just like...
Unless they kill him off in the first. Well, in Avatar 2.
I hope so. And I hope when they kill him off, I hope Zoe Saldana chokes him with her penis tail. And as she does, she says, "This is because you can't act." That is I hope that is canon as to how he dies in those films. I don't want to shit on people, but I can shit on him because he's been very successful.
Yes, you're punching up.
I'm not punching. I'm not punching down.
And he looks good. He was like, it was nice having it. Like, if he was being kind of billed as the next Hugh Jackman, but he doesn't have the chops, and like. He's no Heath Ledger. It's like because we have so few exports. Like, if he was on Neighbours, he would be Australia's best actor.
Totally.
But because he was in Terminator Salvation, he is Australia's worst actor.
That's so true. It's like big fish, small pond stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely. If Russell Crowe was a singer in The Masked Singer, he'd be Australia's best singer. But because he was in Les Mis, he's a national shame.
We pretend that didn't happen. I still love Rusty. But
that's so funny. And then I'm seeing people in the chat just say Jai Courtney too, which is just brutal. Okay, cool. So obviously, there's not too much point in talking about what we think is going to be in COD because we'll find out in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, and we should have a big chunk of back pocket tonight. I think we'll do a big deep dive discussion because we won't be able to stop Gus talking about it. So I think we just all need to jump on the bandwagon and we'll talk about everything that drops over the next 24 hours.
Yeah, I think
back pocket tonight, idea. Tomorrow, Thursday,
Oh yeah, because they don't know that internally we call it
Back Pocket Tonight. Yeah,
because there's just we
it's on the
stupidly
YouTube.
named our show. Oh yeah, right. It is,
and
the
I
YouTube
think
name.
we've changed the stream info. They'll get
Have
it.
we? Okay, they'll understand. It's just we
Tonight.
annoyingly named the show after the brand, and then we're like, okay, we have other things coming out. So people are like, I want to be a back pocket, and it's like, okay, I don't know what you mean by that. So we'll figure it out. Anyway, this is an us problem, not you problem. I don't know why I'm telling you. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about more video game news, and the ongoing fight between Apple and Epic continues. And it's just a joy to watch, Pete. That Unreal Engine, obviously, the biggest thing that happened. If you don't know, I'm sure you do, but Epic implemented a payment system into Fortnite that bypassed Apple and Google Play's their payment systems, where they get a 30% cut of the revenue. Apple then said, hey, you can't do that. We're going to stop listing your game. Epic said, we want to do this. We're going to sue you. Here's a dumb trailer of a commercial that you made 30 years ago that no kid who plays Fortnite will get this reference to, but the media will, and so they'll pick it up. Apple went, okay, well, if you're going to do that, we're going to remove the developer tool, the ability for Unreal Engine to work
to be
iOS?
supported. I think everything that was already live on the servers is still live, even Fortnite,
yes.
And the Unreal Engine, but they were going to block Epic from updating the engine and the back end of it that keeps thousands of games on the App Store running, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then that's where it kind of went from Apple versus Epic to Apple versus Epic and thousands of indie developers, and became much more like, oh, well, this could have a real impact on mobile gaming. They all went to court. There was a Zoom meeting, as there just is everywhere in the world right now, and it's sort of mixed, I guess, that the judge Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers has granted a temporary restraining order forbidding Apple from removing Epic's Apple developer accounts or denying Unreal Engine updates on the operating systems because, quote, it would lead to potential significant damage to both the Unreal Engine platform itself and to the gaming industry generally, including on both third-party developers and gamers. But then on the other hand, Apple won't be required to make Fortnite available on its App Store. And then my favorite line of this, which is, she wrote, quote, the current predicament appears that it is Epic's own making. Epic Games remains free to maintain its agreements with Apple in breach status as this litigation continues. So it's like, you put yourself into this and don't come crying to me because you told your brother to hit you and then he hit you too hard.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, they both deserve a big kick in the ass for this, but Epic were, I mean, sure, like Apple, Google have a monopoly or duopolistic kind of control over mobile apps.
Mm-hmm.
But like Epic knew exactly, they were so prepared for this fight, and to see them get knocked back by a judge, they both big parties got a little like, they won some and lost some there, so it feels like good middle ground. And I just hate it. They're hurting more people than just each other, because they're not hurting each other. They're only getting publicity out of this, really, for the companies. Yeah. And it's good that the judge made the call that they can keep supporting the Unreal Engine, because that's the thing that's affecting developers who aren't billionaires.
Yeah. Totally. I think what will happen from here is that Epic will go, okay, well, we can't not have Fortnite listed on the store and people continuing to download that game. We've made our point. We will remove the internal payment system, but continue the court battle of trying to get it officially allowed. I think that because it's good that the engine thing, because you're right, like the engine thing just affects so many other people. Keep that sorted, and then Apple will, if you basically remove the in-app purchase thing, then Apple will not try to remove the developer tools, and so therefore the restraining order, when that runs out, nothing will really happen, and then just have this argument in court for the next 5 years, because it's going to take forever, and you're not going to have, Apple will continue to fight it, and so they're not just going to not have Fortnite on phones for new players for 5 years.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I feel like maybe Epic were throwing out a call for support from other big developers in the space who maybe also were fed up with Apple's deal, and no one came out of the woodworks.
Microsoft came out and said that they released a statement and said that they agree with Epic, but I assume the reason they said that is because they want XPass on the phones as well.
Yeah. So,
but it's not a rallying of the troops. It was just a press statement.
It was like
you go, son.
Yeah, it certainly didn't become a joint action. It just was like, yeah, it's a bit shit. And it totally is a bit shit. And it's hard. Like, it's just that we live in a capitalist society. It's like Microsoft tried to make phones and an operating system for phones so hard and failed. And it wasn't even necessarily that it was a bad platform. It was just they couldn't get enough support behind it and enough people into it. And it's just, that's where we are now, that these two are so big that it's hard for them to fail, like nigh impossible for them to fail from where they are, Android and Apple OS. So
I think at the end of the day, I would be happy if Apple, I don't think Apple should not be getting a cut. Yeah. I think that they should be getting a cut. The platform exists because they created it, they maintain it, it's their walled garden. But I think that the cut should be lowered, kind of the same as what Epic do, right? Where they go, well, if you can make a game with our engine for free up to $1 million worth of sales, and then when you hit $1 million, we're going to start charging a commission. So you go, okay, that's fair. Like, an indie dev can make a bunch of games and make a significant amount of money before they actually need to start paying royalties. And if you do something like that, or even if it's a 10% cut, Apple's still going to make a friggin' fortune. You don't need to be a $2 trillion company. You don't have to be that. You just want to be that. It is fine to be a $1 trillion company. That is completely fine. And everyone will still get just an ungodly, unthinkable, unspeakable amount of money. But then more people will have money, and that just seems like, it's just greed.
Yeah, totally. Cinnamon Bun made an interesting point that we haven't brought up, which is that this whole thing is potentially the work of CD Projekt Red, in that it's a marketing push from them, because this is a corpo war, and this is all just a cyberpunk marketing stunt.
I like it.
And Apple and Epic are going to reveal at the end of the month that, hey, buy Cyberpunk soon.
Yeah,
it was a joke.
That. And then the person who ultimately fixes this is the redneck who rides in on a hoverbike that's from the clan that I'm going to start the game as, and just, I don't know,
just calls everyone,
kidnaps Tim Sweeney and Tim Cook, and puts them in a room until they sort it out. Someone in the chat, who was it? I did just see a message which was Lemon Llama 18. Having more than $1 billion is just insanity, and I agree. I think that anyone who has more than $1 billion should think hard about what they're going to spend the rest of that $1 billion on. Even if you're a company, even though you have shareholders to look after, the idea that you are worth $2 trillion is disgusting.
Yeah. But there's also because there's a lot of hate for billionaires right now, and there totally should be, because they more than won whatever fucking game we're all in. But obviously Bezos is he's got employees and they're getting treated like shit, and I probably shouldn't say that on Twitch, but there's so much hate for Bill Gates right now, and it's like, yeah, he's got billions of dollars, And yeah, he could pay more taxes. And yes, he said he should, but he's not going to because the loopholes exist. I'm much more satisfied that his money is in his hands than in the Trump government's hands.
Yeah, totally.
You know, right? It's like, sure, you can give money to the government, but paying more taxes doesn't mean the population wins. It means the government has more money, and they're not necessarily going to give that to making the country better. So I feel like Bill Gates is like and Warren Buffett are kind of shining examples of billionaires who at least 60 years into their life stopped being dickheads and started putting their money where it's being effective as opposed to where it might just be squandered. So I will defend Bill Gates to the death, but yes, billionaires in general shouldn't happen unless it's low key.
Unless it's us, in which case go subscribe to the Patreon. Vamp for a second, because there are children yelling outside the door, and I'm just wondering what's going on.
Are they your children?
I hope they're my children.
Well, I'm going to bring up footage to make it easier for me to vamp, because I have not played Fortnite in a long time. The last time I played was with Gus on the first Marvel edition thing where you could play as Captain America and Iron Man and stuff if you picked up their gauntlets, and you had to kill Thanos. But this looks very fun. It's very wet. I could see myself. This is obviously a new map. Chat, I assume.
I figured it out.
What happened?
I was like, there's no kids downstairs. What is happening? It was all coming through the baby monitor.
Yeah, right.
This entire house is wired for sound. And if you caught the 15-second stream that happened before our first episode, you would also hear a funny story about how this entire house is wired for sound. Thank you very much for that, Peter Burns. All right. Did you have more to say about Fortnite?
No.
Good.
Yeah, I'm done.
Let's move on to from how much we hate capitalism to, hey, here's a game that we would like to buy. And that is Black Myth Wukong, which we saw a trailer for last week. I think there was a Kotaku article.
Well, I saw it just get shared on Twitter, and it didn't have a lot of views at the time. And I was like, what is this?
And I saw a thing from Alex Walker, I think, who wrote an article saying, why the fuck aren't more people talking about this game? It is a Souls-like merged with Chinese mythology, where you play as Wukong, and you are sort of like in a Chinese-inspired Souls-born environment, and it just looks stunning, Peter.
Yeah, and so obviously it's the Journey to the West mythology, and this is a 13-minute demo, and I'll skip to the good part. You play as a bug. I skipped to the wrong part.
Look at the wiggle. Look at the butt wiggle.
Just beautiful. And I played, like we were talking about on the show the other night, and look at those freaking catwolf things, how we played Mortal Shell. Mm-hmm. And like I've played a bit of that, and I can see how there's a new mechanic at least, and that's cool. But it just feels like the biggest Souls rip that I just don't have the energy to be enthused by it. And then I look at something like this, which is, sure, not necessarily a Souls-like, and it feels like cheap and easy these days to go like all third-person melee action games are a Souls-like. But this does look to have like some difficult combat and not just be a button mashing kind of brawler. And for it to look and have this like fresh coat of paint on it of being beautiful and colorful and be full of lore that people already kind of know. Very exciting.
And the thing that I love, I'm not usually someone that's wowed by graphics, but I think this looks gorgeous. I want to spend time in these environments. I think it looks fantastic. But the thing that I really like from this is if we are, and you're right, it is trite and reductive to just refer to everything as a Soulsborne style game. But if that's what the core of those games, if that's what's sort of inspiring this is much more fluid combat, much more fast combat. It's super there also seems to be much more of a toolkit at your disposal. We've already seen in this that he's hitting him with his staff, but he's also throwing his staff. He has some magic freeze thing. He can turn into a bug. So there's more tools at your disposal, and in a game that is like this fast and frenetic, that obviously Sekiro had a bit of that, but this is just on a sort of different kind of level. This is super appealing to me. And apparently there was some questioning online.
Yes, grab that
about whether
new
or not
stick.
You take that stick, because that stick has blades.
It's got a fiery stick.
You've just been hitting him with... Wait, where did the fire stick go?
Use that one. I don't know. You
Why
can use
would
it
he
to
stick
upgrade
with the
later or
staff?
something. Well, it's like
Is he
that is the classic like Monkey King scepter, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
Oh, who's that big
Look
headed
at that
freak?
thing! What is that? Is that Gus? No, that mouth is too big.
Yeah. Not enough hair.
I do like the fact that this also seems to imply that when you turn into a bug, you can skip enemies.
Yeah.
So you could fly around and not aggro everyone, and then sort of unbug yourself when you want to. What is that thing?
And there's going to be, I'm sure, something in here for that. It's called like Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
Yeah.
Which I never played, but I was
I
exposed
played about half
to.
of, and it was fun.
Yeah, and I think just had a lot of character. And there's a lot of character in this mythos that we just don't get in the West much. So for that to journey to the West is exciting, because like we get all the Arthurian tropes and stuff, and we've almost seen a lot of like the spectrum of Japanese trope as well, like through like Personas through to Dark Souls of like, and like even
Nioh and Sekiro,
that
and
kind of like dark samurai
Yeah.
ninja-y kind of stuff. We see a bit of that as well. But like to get some really colorful gods and demons kind of stuff out of China, like very cool.
Can you skip ahead to the part where there's a boss fight with like a giant rat? There he is. It's like a rat wolf thing.
Yeah, look at that fur.
Look at the fur.
It's the fur.
Look at it.
Gorgeous. That's well lit fur.
And so there was some talk going around online that this wasn't necessarily real-time gameplay, and that the game won't look this good. Your kill zones and your kill zone 2 and whatever, those sort of things. But this then the devs released a video of the developer playing the game for this demo, and has a control, plays the whole thing. So this is what the game looks like, at least in this vertical slice. I think that I'm so jazzed for this. This is next gen looking to me. This is the kind of thing where I go, oh yeah, this is why if I didn't have a great PC, I would have to buy a next gen console. Any word on release date? I don't think there is. I don't believe so. So I think that where are we?
But the hype is real.
The hype is just very real.
Someone asked what it's called. It is Black Myth Wukong. So you can look up this trailer and watch and listen to it. Look at this. Just beautiful. Like he does his like summon all like these illusions.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Very cool.
And like that's a huge space to be fighting in. The fact that you'll have
there it is.
Like AI advancements is something that I'm very excited about with next gen as well. So if this is something that this can take advantage of, it's coming to PC and consoles. Long road ahead, probably years before we see a version that we can play ourselves is the word. But this is this is. I'm excited. Look at him on fire. Look at it burn the fur. Oh god, it's so good.
Lovely.
Okay, good. The hype is overhyped until we get a release time frame, says Potty Top. Yes, we do need a time frame, but it's just nice to have something like that where I go, oh yeah, because there's not. I don't know. There are games I'm excited about, but I want special, and that at least that looks special. And I like that they released 13 minutes worth of gameplay as opposed to a movie trailer.
Yeah, totally. I think that's like the only way to put your best foot forward in surprising people with something new is to not go like, we're making a thing that's going to have this tone and feel like this. It's like, here is the game.
Yeah.
Like, and they know that they've got a good enough product 2 years from now
That's true.
to be able to show it off and be confident in it. It's cool.
Very true. And then just rounding out the rest of the headlines today, it's DLC talk. So there is a new Guild Wars 2 expansion coming, and Guild Wars 2 is moving to Steam. There is a Borderlands 3 DLC coming that is set in the head of a character from Borderlands 2, and then Cyberpunk sort of reminding everybody that they're still planning on doing free DLC like they did with The Witcher 3. This is Guild Wars trailer.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Please. No, I insist.
The only thing I was going to say was that obviously we both haven't played Guild Wars in a long time. I hit level cap in like vanilla and maybe played the first expansion, but watched as they kept updating this game. And the thing that I love most about what they did was they just were never afraid to do something absurd. Like they were right from the get-go okay with breaking what they called their vanilla world, and everything on top of that has been really like something different and new, and like, you know, worlds that were like big, weird, fluffy things. And even if they were just events, it was like, here's a thing that looks like Mario 64 that you're in right now. And this looks like a cotton candy, like refresh, really colorful and cool. And
yeah, this is, I mean, it's a very beautiful trailer. I was shocked that they're coming out with new content because, I haven't touched Guild Wars 2 in 6, 7, 8 years. But it is the only negative with it coming to Steam is that apparently you can't bring over your account, so you have to start again. But at this point, I don't remember anything from Guild Wars 2 other than the fact that I really liked the map. So, so
if they've got a character boost, that would be nice. Like, sure, make a new character, but just boost it.
Because I want to see the fairy floss. That's what I actually want to see.
Yeah. Totally.
And can you bring up the Borderlands 3 trailer as well? Because it just has a it has a cool vibe. I never played Borderlands 3. I was just like, it came out and I just went, I don't have the energy for this. But I like the idea of having DLC set in someone's head.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I do worry that it's like, I think Borderlands will be fine. It thrives in insanity. But it does almost sound like a fun 45-minute, 1 hour mission in a shooter as like a concept. It's like, you know, Skyrim going in, or Oblivion going into the painting and fighting in the painted world. It's like, cool concept. Like, I didn't need more than an hour of that.
Titanfall 2 would have made this one level.
Exactly. And Titanfall 2 was just like, it knew when to get in and get out of those things. It was a perfect shooter in my mind, the single player. Whereas this, like, it's just going to be madness for madness sake. And again, I think that doesn't really matter for Borderlands because it is just a hot mess in a good way. I mean, they're calling it Fustercluck.
Oh, God. Oh my god! I actually, looking at that, I feel like a trend I would like to see, and I think that this would actually make companies more money. I'm sure it's technically difficult, but your all DLC packs like this should be standalone. So I don't have the energy to play through Borderlands 3. I'm like, I don't want to grind and level up and go through this in a game where I've just heard it's fine. It's not something I'm massively passionate about. I literally do not have the time in my life to play that.
Yeah.
But I do have 8 hours to play through a cool expansion. Yeah. And if it was, you can just buy this, have a character that's leveled and ready to go, and then just be able to build them in the menu before you head in, I think would be a super cool way of doing that. That you can basically go, well, I didn't play the main game, but I'm going to play the bite-size episodic stuff, and therefore you don't need to own the main game in order to play it.
Yeah, that would be cool. And if it was like slightly more expensive to buy the standalone version than it was to get the add-on version, totally cool with that. Obviously, Ubisoft did that a little bit with their Trials of the Blood Dragon. Not Trials of the Blood Dragon, though that was standalone as well.
Yes.
The Blood Dragon Far Cry thing.
Totally.
There was like, here's a dumb idea. Let's make a game out of it. And you didn't have to own all the other Far Cry's or Far Cry 4 or whatever was out at 3 or 4, whatever was out at the time, to
Exactly.
jump across to it.
And Uncharted Lost Legacy, Ollie Young says, I mean, yeah, that was more of a game, like an actual game by itself, but that idea where it's just like 8 hours of something. I think Far Cry, Blood Dragon's a great example. The Witcher 3 content, which I'm seeing, Sickney says, yes, you can make a pre-made character specifically for the DLC. Again, though, like Blood and Wine, I would like to just buy that as a little game, and I don't see why they wouldn't offer that, because it would get people in who don't own the game, and I feel like people aren't. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like
I don't know how many people buy a game because DLC is coming out.
Yeah, I guess. Well, again, like if it was going to get sales, there's then a way to package it top and tail, like they do with even The Witcher 3. When you launch it, it's like build the history of Geralt by choosing from a list of things in a like comic book style thing that they made. So you could catch yourself up, and like I couldn't bring my save across from my PC to the Xbox or whatever I started playing Witcher 3 on. So I was like, I chose that and that and that, and I was like, cool, your world is set the way that you would have set it up. They could totally just do that again for the DLC and be like, you missed these things in the main quest. Would you have done this? Would you have done this? And then you're away.
Totally. But yeah, so this to me is the most interested I've been in Borderlands 3. And Guild Wars 2, I will, that DLC, I will watch from a distance and enjoy and wish that I was participating in it.
Gus said just play Witcher 3 on Switch. It's like...
Angus.
It's a big enough game already. Rather than playing it at 15 frames a second, it's going to like quadruple the amount of time it takes me to play it.
For a man who loves aesthetics so much, it's insane that he
I love it. It's like it's so
to his eyes.
Against his personality to enjoy something looking bad on a tiny screen.
Yeah, I know. It is. Yeah, he's an enigma. That's what makes you special, Gus. The final thing that I want to just touch on is that Blaseball is back, and that is very exciting.
And we had a conversation before. Let me pull the audio out of this one because I think it's just some dude talking.
Yeah, it is.
Where are you? Oh, it may not be loud enough to hear anyway. I was like, what's Blaseball? And you said you would explain it to me in the show. So please.
So Blaseball is a game that I love that it exists, and it's very weird. So it's basically just a spreadsheet. It's like a clicker game. It's in browser. Blaseball is a take on baseball, where you take a team. My team is the Canada Moist Talkers. There are lots of teams. The Moist Talkers are my team that you then bet on games. Depending on the outcome, then you win. So those are the teams: the San Francisco Lovers, the Dallas Steaks, the Los Angeles Tacos. Depending on the results of the game, then you win coins. You then use those coins to buy upgrades for your team or yourself. They look at these insane names that are in these teams. And then you can unlock new rules in the rule book. So in the moment, we're in the discipline era. The commissioner is doing a very good job, which is just like the catch cry of this game. The announcement for Blaseball is back. The front office has heard your cries. The league has internalized your feedback. Play must resume. It must never stop. The extended siesta must end. Opening day kicks off today. Will Jessica Telephone and the Hades Tigers defend their crown? Could the Pies ascend? Will fans appease the shelled one, or is it a third strike waiting? Are we finally rid of Wyatt Mason? Wait, there are Blagan balls now? Taste the infinite. Play ball. And so this is just, it's just a very insane game. But the beautiful thing about it is that it's entirely built around like the lore that both the game and fans create. So I'm part of the Discord, and the lore on the Discord is just wild that people are coming up with this thing. But the rule book, you go to the book tab on the website, and half of it is redacted. And so you don't quite know. So I'll just read you a couple of quick rules and then we can close it out. So the team with the most runs will win the game. But there is the shame phase. If the home team scores the winning run in the bottom of the final inning, the away team must complete the game in shame despite being mathematically eliminated. The next point is then entirely redacted. And then the final point here, crying in Blaseball, is redacted. And so I'm just like, what is happening? Rule 5, redacted and new. Should the participants open the forbidden book, redacted, suffering, redacted, banished, redacted. The discipline era shall last until, redacted, atoned. When teams are sent to redacted, they shall return once redacted. Next point, sunglasses, massive amount of redaction. If at any time the fans have angered the Blaseball gods, they may atone by eating 1 million peanuts, is then crossed out, and it now just says strike 2 next to it. And then the final point is sportsmanship is back.
So is this so it's basically a fantasy league but it's a fake sport as well, and there's a community that decides what the rules are. Are there instances of this, or is it like an international camera? So it's an international thing. There's only one rule set that everyone is working with. There's not like 50 people in your game, 50 people in another game. This is everyone in the planet who's playing Blaseball. So 50 people.
Yep.
Using the same rule set.
Yes, and watching the same games. You don't watch anything, like it just happens, and then you get the results.
Sure.
And then, but the real gameplay is the idea that you get the coins that you get from betting on games. You then buy things in the shop, and they unlock global rule sets and new things for everybody. And then you also can there's elections where there are decrees and there are blessings that are awarded to each team. So you buy tickets and then get decrees and blessings, and the most amount at the end of a season are then put on the teams selected. So the decrees that I bought tickets for a couple of days ago was that 5 players from the Hades Tigers will be randomly distributed throughout the league, and then the bottom 4 teams from each season will gain the 4th strike for the next season. It will take 4 strikes to get out any of their batters, and you go, right, so that's like a big power boost for the bottom 4 teams. And then it's just a bunch of dumb insanity. But the lore stuff around it reminds me of Control. It has, you know how when you were playing Control and you read the books and stuff, and you're like, there's a fridge that's attacking people here.
Yeah,
it's that level of just batshit crazy. And I'm here for Blaseball. BLASEBALL. Ball is back.
We've got Dusk Bunny saying getting Welcome to Night Vale vibes. And Lemon Llama saying big fall in London energy.
Yes, so massively.
People are feeling the vibe of the thing who have played similar things. So
absolutely.
There's an audience.
There is an audience for it. That is very true. Okay, cool. And that's all the news that's worth talking about now. We've got to work on that
is it time for us to back out?
It is time for us to back out. Before we do, a reminder to subscribe to us everywhere you could subscribe to something. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/backpocket channel. We're on twitch.tv/back_pocket. And we are on Patreon, patreon.com/backpocket if you want to become a patron of the show. Get exclusive access to post shows, get logos drawn and put in the show, get commercials made about you, which we promise we are doing. It's on the list. Yeah. It's high on the list. The commercials are coming. Head to patreon.com/backpocket and you also gain access to the Discord. The Discord is filled with amazing people who are all lovely. And then if you subscribe on Twitch here, you get all the fancy emotes that unlocked, all those cool pocketies that you keep seeing. Just let's spam some pocketies for everyone who's subscribed. And we talked a lot of shit about Jeff Bezos before, but to be fair, the man has given you an Amazon Prime free sub if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber.
If you give him money, he scratches your back too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he cleared the emotes that we made very quickly. I'm sure that goes all the way up to Bezos because you have to submit those so you don't just put big peens up everywhere. So
yeah.
Bezos gave us the big tick.
He did. So subscribe. There you go. Argon TV just subscribed with Prime. Thank you very much, Ben. Much appreciated. All right. We're good here. we've got Back Pocket tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
It's very confusing. We really didn't think that through.
No.
What were the other options? Back Pocket Live, Back Pocket,
Back Pocket,
Prime.
the Ellen Show.
That was a good one. Maybe we should just
I think
always
it was
subtitle it
taken.
with a different.
Was it?
Back Pocket, the Ellen Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back Pocket, Good Morning America.
Yeah, we should do that. We should just name every episode should be named after a different
morning
daily show. Yeah, that's good. That's actually a very funny idea. All right, but yeah, we'll see you tomorrow night. Pete, back us out.
Do we have to lean back now that we're backing out?
Oh, okay, cool. Let's do it.
All right, let's back out.
Whoa!